What's up, traders? Hope everybody is doing well. In this video, we are going to discuss how to set up Market Profile on NinjaTrader 8. Market Profile is a tool that I use on a daily basis to give me high probability trade opportunity. And many people actually don't even know that it's possible to set up Market Profile or TPOs, also known as Time Price Opportunity Charts, on NinjaTrader. Now, this requires a lifetime license for NinjaTrader, which is the most expensive license option, which also includes the order flow package. Now, the order flow package is how we set up this market profile. So if you do not have a NinjaTrader lifetime license, just to reiterate and just to save you the time, you cannot set up market profile. So before you watch this video, make sure that you have a lifetime license, and if you don't, go grab one or save up, get one, and then come back and watch this video when you do, and then you can set up the profile. Now, for those that do have the order flow package with the NinjaTrader 8 lifetime license, let's dive in. All right, so just to give you guys an idea here, this is what your profile is going to look like at the end of this video. Something very similar to this, where we have a separate profile, or separate profiles rather. We have a TPO profile and a volume profile for the regular trading hour session. We have a TPO profile and a volume profile for the overnight trading hour session. This allows us to see the separate sessions, market profile, and volume profile information together, and this is a professional market profile setup. All right, so to start getting our profile looking like that, we want to make sure that we have a 30-minute chart up. Now, importantly, we also want to make sure that we don't have a ton of data loaded on our chart, because the more days that we have loaded, the longer it's going to take for your profile to load. So especially just with the setup, I would suggest having maybe 3 or 5 days loaded, nothing too crazy. There's sufficient data to get the profile and to have everything loaded, but not enough data to lag your processing. So first thing we are going to want to do is we're going to want to go up to our indicator tab. You can select it here. You can also right click on your chart and go to indicators, or you can hit Control I. And we're going to scroll all the way down to our order flow indicators. Now, just to start, we're going to add one order flow volume profile to our chart. Now you can see mine automatically switches to volume profile overnight because I have that template saved as default. I'm going to click reset, so that switches back to the default settings of the order flow volume profile, and we will dig into the settings here. So first things first, let's call this market profile RTH, which stands for regular trading hours. We're going to name this market profile RTH for organization purposes, because we're going to be adding a total of 4 profiles together when we're done. Next, we want to select profile type. Instead of volume, we want to have a price profile. Next selection, we want letters instead of boxes, and we will have color by time checked. For profile period, we will have sessions selected. For sessions, we will have 1, and for trading hours, we are going to select the CME US Index Futures RTH. For resolution, we are going to select tick, and at the moment, let's use 3 ticks per level. I'll get into that a little bit later, but we'll set it to 3 for now. Value area we want set to 70, and initial balance we want set to 60. The initial balance is the opening range, or the opening hour range in this case, and this is going to give us good information with the profile. So for the visual settings, I'm going to bring over my other panel here so you guys can see this and copy these settings for what it's worth. So we're going to have auto scale unchecked. Panel setting is going to be set to 1. Visible is going to be checked. Profile alignment is going to be set to left. Profile width 50. Profile opacity 50. We are going to have show POC unchecked. We are going to have show value area checked. Our value area opacity is going to be 100, and you guys can copy these colors, and you'll notice that some of these colors aren't in use, and the main colors that I'm using are actually just the profile color here and these time colors. So my profile, as you guys saw earlier, my regular trading hours profile is Orchid. So essentially what I have done here is I have made all periods A period through Z period Orchid, aside from B and D period. And the reason that I've done that is because making B and D period a different color highlights the initial balance. It highlights the first hour of price action, or the first hour on the profile. And just so you guys can see, I will go ahead and cancel this real quick and bring this down. And you can see here how this part of the profile is green. That's the initial balance. That's the first hour of trading. And it's a really helpful visual tool to get that initial balance on chart. So with that said, grab the settings one more time. And just to reiterate, make sure that you guys have A through Z set to Orchid or whatever color you want your profile to be. And then if you do want to highlight that initial balance separately, change your B and D period to spring green if you want to copy mine, or whatever color you'd like. And in order for that to work, you must have color by time selected, just to reiterate that as well. Then we are going to move on to the lines section. Now the lines section is where you will see the labeled lines for all of the profile levels. The range high, range low, point of control, value area high and low, initial balance levels, and more if you guys would like, but those are the main levels that I use. So just expanding these a little bit, you can see here that these are the lines that I use. So the ones that I've just expanded are the ones that I have shown on my chart. So for the point of control, I use the color magenta, and I have both visible and label checked. So that puts a line when you have visible checked, and then when you have the label checked, it actually marks the price there as well. For value area, this marks the value area high and low. I have that color set to deep sky blue. I have it set to dash style dash with 1, and then visible and label checked on those as well. The range high and low I have set to the color lavender, same settings, dash and with style 1. For visible and label I have those checked. Next line that I have showing is the initial balance range, which is, just to reiterate once again, that's the high and the low for the first hour of the profile. And this is just for regular trading hours, by the way. I do not have the initial balance marked for the overnight session. So for that, same settings. I have visible and label checked, dash and the width set to 1. And the last setting for the lines that I have enabled is the extended naked point of control, which is a point of control that has never been touched or has not been touched since it was formed. And for that, I have the line a little bit thicker. I have it set to 2, and the dash style I actually have set to a solid line, and I have those both visible and label checked as well. And just to show you what that looks like, once again, here we have the range high and the low, the white levels, or the lavender to be exact. We have the value area levels, these blue levels, or deep sky blue to be precise. We have the point of control and the extended naked point of control, which are magenta. And then we have the initial balance levels, which are spring green. So if you guys copy those settings, you should have something very similar to this profile right here. Now we are going to move on into setting up the overnight session, or the extended trading hours profile, which is a little bit more tedious because we have to create a custom trading hours template. But this is really helpful when we have these profiles separated, because we can very quickly determine how the overnight inventory is situated, if you guys are familiar with my market profile recaps and such. So let's get into how to set up the overnight profile. First things first, we are going to want to go to our control center. We're going to go to tools, then we are going to go to trading hours. Then once we have that open, we are going to want to click add, and we are going to create a template, and you can call it after hours template. You can call it overnight session or overnight template, whatever you want. Next thing you're going to want to do, I already have mine created, so I'm not going to create one from scratch. I'm going to pull mine up and I'm going to show you guys. So here's what we want to do. I'm in Mountain Time, so that is 2 hours behind Eastern Time. So you can see I have this custom template set to the hours between or after New York session ends and before it begins. So that would be 4:01 p.m. my time to 7:29 a.m. my time. New York session starts at 7:30 a.m. my time, and it ends at 4 p.m. my time. So you could copy my template exactly if you wanted to and use my time zone, or you could convert the time to your time zone. So for instance, if you're in Eastern time, you would just want to set this to 6:01 p.m. to 9:29 p.m. And essentially what we're doing is we are creating a template to encapsulate the hours that are, once again, after New York session ends and before New York session begins at 9:30 a.m. Eastern. So once you have this created, you can cancel out of this. I'll get rid of this. You will do something very similar to what we did before. You will add another order flow volume profile to your chart, and then you will copy these settings. So I have this named MPETH, standing for Market Profile Extended Trading Hours. I have the profile type set to price. Once again, I have the draw mode set to letters. Profile period sessions, sessions 1, and then the trading hours selection. This is where we go and select the template that we just made, the after hours template. We want to set our ticks per level to 2 or 3, value area 70, initial balance in time 60, and then we want the profile alignment to the left. We want the profile width 50. I have the profile opacity at 40, value area opacity at 100, and then these colors that you see here. And once again for this, I do not have color by time checked because we are not highlighting the initial balance, so it's not necessary to go into the time selection here and individually change these. So when you have colored by time unselected or unchecked, then the color for profile is the only color selection that you need. So I have that selected as cyan, and you can see that I have the entire profile as cyan, and we are good to go there. I have hide bars selected because we don't want to see the candles, of course. And then for the overnight session, I actually only show the point of controls and the range high and lows. The other lines are not as important to me, and with the value area shaded, you can see that this is outside of value when it's dark over here, and then this is the value area. So I can quickly look and see, okay, here's value area high, here's value area low. I don't really need those extra lines on there for the overnight session, and it keeps my profile chart a little bit cleaner as well. So same settings as far as the lines for the POC and the range. I have them set to magenta. I have the dash style set to dash, and then I have the width style set to 1 with visible and label both checked. And then for the range, I actually have this set to ghost white. As you guys can see, there's like a ton of different shades of white, ghost white, lavender. Pick your poison as far as the colors go, my friends. Have a blast. So I'll just make this one lavender too for continuity's sake. And that will give you, after clicking apply, this profile right here. Now, you guys will notice that you don't have the volume profiles yet, and that's okay, because we are going to add those next. So once again, once you guys add these, and you can select show profile summary if you want. This will give you a little summary of our range and the volume delta as well. So that will give you the extended trading hours and regular trading hours TPO profiles with the letters. Now, if we want to do the volume profiles, we will double click, and you can see it's the same thing. We go down and we're adding technically four of the same indicators, 4 order flow volume profiles, all with slightly different settings. So we have market profile RTH for regular trading hours. This is our pink and green profile. We have the market profile ETH. This is our cyan profile right here. Next, we are doing the volume profile regular trading hours. So for this one, we actually do want to go ahead and select profile type volume. For this mode, we want to display the heat map. So we want to, under display mode, select heat. For the profile period, we want to select sessions. And for trading hours, we want to select US index futures RTH. Once we have our trading hours selected to US index futures RTH, we want to set the resolution to tick, ticks per level to 1, value area percentage to 70, and initial balance time in minutes to 60. Next, we are going to move on to the visual settings. We are going to have the profile alignment to the right this time. We obviously want this visible, so we want that checked. Profile width percentage 40, profile opacity 10. We want to check show value area. I have the value area opacity at 20, and most of these colors will not be used, but the color for high heat and the color for low heat will be used. So the high heat color I have set to magenta, and the low heat color I have set to slate blue. We don't need to check hide bars because they're already hidden, and we don't need to check times because we are not using a price profile. So for lines, I do not show any lines from the overnight profile. So you can also check or uncheck the profile summary. That will just toggle these green labels down here. And with that, you should have a profile very similar to this right here, a volume profile heat map for the regular trading hours session. So you should have this entire profile set up. You should have these lines showing with these labels. You should have your initial balance colored separately if you so chose to do that. And you should have the volume profile to the right side matching up with that. Now, let's do the extended trading hours volume profile. So what you can do is you can add another order flow volume profile, and then you can copy basically the same exact settings from the previous volume profile, except for what we're going to change is going to make sure the resolution's on tick. We're going to make sure that the trading hours template is set to our after hours template, just like our ETH or our extended trading hours market profile. And then we are going to go down to the high heat and the low heat colors. And for my volume profile for the overnight, I have my high heat color set to cyan, and I have my low heat color set to blue. So if you go ahead and click apply, you should now have this volume profile matching up with your overnight TPO profile as well. And I'll just leave this up here. You guys can feel free to copy these settings, and you should see once again something like this. So with these settings applied, I would very much recommend right-clicking on your chart, going to templates, going to save as, and saving the template. So you can say market profile, you could say TTN market profile, etc. And then all you have to do is right-click, templates, load, and then double-click on your market profile, and you're good to go. It'll bring it up. One thing that I did want to mention, very, very important, is to make sure that your data series trading hours is also set to default 24/7. Let me make this perfectly clear here. Please make sure that your trading hours selection on your data series, so if you click Control F, it'll bring up your data series window. If you right click and you go to data series, that'll bring it up as well. Make sure that your trading hours setting for your data series is set to default 24/7. Do not have it set to CME index futures. Don't have it set to anything else. Make sure that it is set to default 24/7. That will allow you to see the profiles properly. That will allow you to get this very, very good price information that, again, I use on a daily basis, that I write my trade plans from, that really professional traders use to give them edge of high probability. All right, so one more thing that I wanted to discuss is the ticks per level setting, more specifically with the market profile of the TPO profiles. So the ticks per level setting is something that I mess around with a little bit depending on how wide the profile is. Essentially, the ticks per level setting is showing you in detail or allowing you to select how granular you want the profile data. So you can see right here I have my market profile RTH selected, which is the pink one here, and right now I have 2 ticks per level set. So just to give you an idea, if I set it to 10, you will see that the profile will condense because it requires more ticks at an individual price to print a letter there, right? So if we have, you see this? See how it's a lot more condensed? There are way less letters. That's because it requires 10 ticks to print a level instead of 2. Now, I'll usually leave it at 1 or 2, but in the instance where we get a really wide profile, I obviously won't go as far as 10, but I will increase it a little bit, maybe to 5 or to 6 or something like that, so I can see the price information or the profile information slightly more condensed, so I can look at it easier on my chart. So you can see here, this looks much different than this. This is much more granular because we have our ticks per levels on the overnight profile lower. So generally, if the profiles are, pretty decent size, they're not crazy wide or anything, then I'll leave it on 1 or 2 ticks per level. But if the profiles get wide, I'll bump it up to 3, 4. Usually don't need to get it as high as 5 unless, we have like 100+ point range on ES, which is rare, but it happens. So I just wanted to mention that, try to keep it, I would say try to keep it close to 1 or 2. If you can, if we don't have a really wide range, because that will give you the most granular data. But if the profile is wide, if it's stretched out, if it's taking up your whole screen, for instance, like this, some people don't have, a monitor where they can see the entire profile. Maybe they'll have to bump up their ticks per level by 1 or 2, just to see things a little bit better. So keep that in mind. I would just say experiment with that setting. Try to keep it as low as possible to get the most granular detail. But other than that, that is really all you need to know about the ticks per level setting. It shows you the higher the ticks per level, the less granular the information will be. The lower the ticks per level, the more granular the information will be, and the more levels or profile prints you'll have. So I know this video had a bunch of details and a lot of information condensed into a pretty short amount of time. So if you guys have any questions, please feel free to drop them in the comments below. Let me know what you think. I really hope that this helps a lot of people. It came to my attention in especially a lot of groups on Facebook that people weren't even aware that you could set up market profile on NinjaTrader. And it's actually a really, really amazing tool. And the way that Ninja has it set up, albeit did take me a while to figure out and a little bit of experimentation going back and forth with NinjaTrader support. But all in all, this is a really great market profile setup. And once you get it set up, all you got to do is load that template and you are good to go. So please let me know if you guys like this content, if you enjoy what you see, if you enjoy market profile content in general. Please feel free to let me know in those comments below. You can check out our market profile trade plans every day, Monday through Friday at New York Open in our free Facebook group, which can be found in the description below. You can also get access to our website, thetradingnetwork.io, where you can get one-on-one mentorship with me, our proprietary indicator package, private Discord access where you can watch me trade every morning, Monday through Friday at New York Open, as well as our Fundamentals of Futures Trading course, which was just released recently. Thank you guys so much for taking the time to watch this video. I hope it helps. I hope the market profile adds to your edge, and I look forward to seeing you guys in the next vid.